Here's an uncomfortable truth about Wall Street. 97% of professional fund managers cannot beat the market in the long run. Yet millions of investors still try to pick winning stocks and time the market, often egged on by self-proclaimed finance gurus predicting that this stock or that crypto is about to go 10x. Financial advice is a multi-billion-dollar industry where everyone's trying to get rich by promising to make you rich. But the truth is that building long-term wealth through investing is actually very simple. My own background is in day trading, but when it comes to long-term investing, I never pick individual stocks. In fact, I barely spend any time at all on my investment portfolio, yet I still get an average return of around 9% a year. And the reason has everything to do with one simple investment strategy. In this video, I'll show you the ETF strategy I use to get to that return. No BS, just the facts. Hi, I'm JC. I'm a best-selling finance author, and on this channel I talk about how to build long-term wealth smarter and faster. When I first started investing, I didn't buy ETFs. I was a day trader at the time, and so I brought the same trading strategies I used as a day trader to my long-term investing. I picked stocks based on price action, I set profit targets and stop losses, and I frequently phased in and out of investments. To my surprise, I quickly found out I wasn't very good at it. At first, I didn't understand how could I be a profitable day trader and at the same time a losing investor. But when I started thinking about the different goals and timelines of short-term trading versus long-term investing, I soon figured it out. Day trading and long-term investing are two very different beasts. Day trading is based on price action, the mood of the markets on any given day, knee-jerk reactions to unexpected economic news or geopolitical developments. As a day trader, you live in the price action. You don't need to know the long-term prospects of a company to take a position in a stock for a few minutes or hours. Of course, it's very different for long-term investing. There you do want to know what a company's long-term prospects are, what its financial position is, its debt load, its capital expenditure and revenue growth compared to its peers. But that's not what I looked at. I looked mostly at price action, like I did as a day trader. And so as an investor, I actually lost money until I realized that unless I wanted to become an investor like Warren Buffett, searching for undervalued companies by analyzing their data, reading their 10Ks and 10Qs, etc., that unless I was prepared to do that, I should not try to pick individual stocks because I just simply didn't have enough information to pick individual winners. So I decided to go a different way. How do I beat those 97% of professional fund managers? By not trying to beat the market like they're trying to do, but simply following it. That was not my idea, by the way, but the insight of John Bogle, the founder of Vanguard. Instead of trying to pick winning stocks, Bogle created the first index fund so you could easily buy the entire market. It was a brilliant idea because historically the market has returned a healthy 8 to 10% per year on average. An index fund is simply a basket of assets that tracks a specific market, like the S&P 500 or the MSCI World Index. These days, the most popular index funds are exchange-traded funds, ETFs. You can buy and sell ETFs like stocks, but one ETF can give you exposure to hundreds or even thousands of companies. An S&P 500 ETF, for example, gives you exposure to 500 leading US companies, all in one single asset. Compare that to picking individual stocks. First, you have to spend time researching companies to increase your chances of picking the right ones. The right ones, of course, being those that outperform the market as a whole. If you do pick the right stock, like if you bought Nvidia at 6 in the beginning of 2020, you can make a lot of money. But if you pick the wrong stock, say buying Zoom at almost $560 a share in late 2020, you can also lose a lot of money. Of course, you can lose money with an ETF too. If the US stock market falls, then your shares in the S&P 500 ETF will also fall. But unlike with individual stocks, with an ETF, you're not dependent on the success of one company because you're not betting on one company, you're betting on an entire market. Owning stocks can also be more of a headache. Should you sell, hold, buy more? With broad market ETFs, you just stay invested. You don't have to constantly check prices, you don't have to make any decisions, you don't have to do anything, really. Another big advantage of ETFs is cost. Most broad market ETFs have an extremely low fee called the expense ratio. Expense ratios can be as low as 0.03% per year, meaning that if you invest $10,000, your annual cost would be $3. But even though the expense ratio of an ETF is generally low, you should always check it because small differences do add up over time. Just look at the difference between investing $100,000 for 30 years in Vanguard's S&P 500 ETF, which has a fee of 0.03%, and State Street's S&P 500 ETF, which has a fee of 0.09%. It's a very small difference, right? I mean, you can hardly see the difference between the blue line and the orange line, yet that tiny gap represents a difference of more than $30,000. So it definitely pays to compare expense ratios of similar ETFs. The simple investing strategy that beats 97% of Wall Street active fund managers is to put the vast majority of your long-term investments into a few broad market ETFs that track entire markets, instead of trying to pick individual winners. That way you get an average return of 8 to 10% per year in the long run. Which broad market ETFs? There are several popular strategies. One of the most popular ones is to invest 60 or 70% in an S&P 500 ETF like the VOO, and then 30 or 40% in a global ETF that excludes the US, like the VXUS. Another classic broad market portfolio is the 3-fund portfolio, which splits 60-20-20 or 70-15-15 between a core US ETF, the 60 or 70% part, an international ETF like the VXUS, and then a total bond market ETF like the BND. A broad market portfolio popular with bullish investors is a 70-30 split between the VOO and a growth-heavy ETF like the QQM, which gives exposure to the Nasdaq 100 index. This is effectively a turbocharged S&P 500 strategy because the QQM has significant overlap with the VOO. So be aware that with this portfolio, you are heavily betting on the biggest US tech companies. My own long-term portfolio is divided between the VOO and the VXUS, but you should choose your own combination based on your convictions. For instance, if you are bullish on the US and AI, you might go heavier into the S&P 500. If you're the opposite, you might instead increase your exposure to an ex-US fund like the VXUS. But the principle stays the same. The majority of your investment capital should go into broad market ETF funds. Now, if you want to spice things up a little and add your convictions about the economy or broader trends and developments to your investment mix, you can do that with specialized ETFs. Specialized ETFs let you invest in specific sectors or trends from the healthcare and defense industry to humanoid robotics and nuclear energy. The great thing about specialized ETF is that you can increase your exposure in a certain sector or trend without betting on one or two individual companies. Say you believe the defense sector is going to outperform the economy in the coming years because of increasing global instability. You could invest in a few individual defense companies, but that would make you vulnerable to how these specific companies perform. In other words, you could be right about the trend, but wrong about which companies benefit from it. The smarter move would be to simply buy an ETF that gives exposure to the entire defense industry, like the Global X Defense Tech ETF. Or maybe you think humanoid robotics is going to be big in the next few years. Then you could buy the Roundhill Humanoid Robotics ETF. This ETF only started in 2025 and is designed specifically to capture the humanoid robotics wave that some expect will come in the wake of the AI revolution. There are literally hundreds of specialized ETFs that let you invest in all kinds of different trends and niche markets. I can't go into all of them here, but if you'd like to see a deep dive on popular specialized ETFs, let me know in the comments below and I'll see if I can do a video about it. Specialized ETFs are a great way to customize your portfolio, but they do often have a higher expense ratio than broad market ETFs. Also be aware that investing in specialized ETFs carries more risk than investing in broad market ETFs. With a specialized ETF, you bet on a specific future development. The more specific the bet, the higher the chance it will not pan out. You should therefore treat specialized ETFs for what they are, a side bet. Your main bet should always be on the market as a whole. How much you invest in broad market funds and how much in specialized ETFs is entirely up to you. If you're happy to get a return of 8 to 10% per year on your invested capital, I would suggest leaving specialized ETFs alone altogether. But if you have strong convictions about certain trends or niche markets, you could allocate a small portion of your investment capital to specialized ETFs that gives you exposure to that trend or niche market. Either way, a good rule of thumb is to hold at least 80% of your stock investments in broad market ETFs. Don't be overly active with that specialized 20% of your portfolio either. Some investors go a little overboard and treat their specialized ETFs too much like short-term investments. But then you're basically stock picking and timing the market again. Treat your long-term investment portfolio for what it is, a long-term investment portfolio. Don't trade with it. Like I said, trading is a whole other beast. Trading is short-term speculation on price movements. Investing is generating wealth through growth, dividends, and compounding, the reinvesting of proceeds. If you want to trade or learn how to trade, go for it. But don't do it with your long-term investment portfolio. The vast majority of US millionaires are long-term investors, not speculators. If you want to build long-term wealth with your investments, you should therefore resist frequent tinkering with your portfolio. The biggest mistake beginning investors make is overtrading. If your goal is to build long-term wealth faster, your time is better spent working a side hustle and then investing that extra money than trying to outsmart the market, which, as I showed in the beginning, even most professional fund managers can do. A few years ago, an urban myth made the rounds that an internal review by asset management company Fidelity showed that the best performing portfolios belonged to people who were long dead or had forgotten they even had an account. Now, while this story has since been debunked, numerous real studies do show that investors who trade the least consistently outperform active traders. So keep it simple. A good rule of thumb is to evaluate and rebalance once a year, and just keep investing at set intervals in the meantime. And be lazy. Automate everything. Automatically transfer the same amount of money to your investment account every month, and automatically buy the same ETFs every month. Don't try to time the markets. Don't try to optimize your portfolio for every possible situation, which is impossible anyway. And don't worry about the markets. Play the long game. In short, don't trade, don't overthink, just own the market. ETF investing is simple, low cost, and highly effective, but there are still some big mistakes many beginning investors make when they first start investing in ETFs. Even more experienced investors frequently make some of these mistakes, thereby unknowingly increasing their risk exposure and losing out on tens of thousands of dollars over time. To make sure you don't make those mistakes, I made a video about the 5 things you should always check before buying an ETF. If you're investing in ETFs or planning to, I recommend you watch it. And if you liked this video, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow so I can keep making more of these videos. Keep building long-term wealth smarter and faster, and I'll see you in the next one.